Today, I'm going to show you a common problem when people go to paint if they have texture on their walls and ceilings. And I've got a trick so you can get a nice, perfect, straight cut line with a textured ceiling or wall.
I'm going to use some of the 3M blue painter's tape, just some regular paintable caulk from what I'm using is Richards, and then a damp sponge just to keep my finger damp and also clean of all the caulk. But I'm just going to cut a small, very small angled tip on the caulk. We don't want to leave much caulk, we just want a nice line. And we're going to recut in too.
Okay, this ceiling has skip trowel texture and the walls are orange peel. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blue painter's tape and take off about a 3 to 4 foot section and just get that stuck to the wall. I'm going to leave it down just probably a 1/16 of an inch so that I can get a little bit of a bead of caulk. What I'm going to do is just run that real small bead of caulk on the tape. So you just want to make sure the tape's stuck real good and keep it consistent how far down you leave it off the ceiling. Like I said, it's only like a 1/16 of an inch. Run your finger over the tape a few times to make sure it's stuck. These walls have been freshly painted and the ceiling has primer and 1 coat of paint. All right, I've got a white caulk, it's paintable. I'm just going to run that bead along the tape and the ceiling. Don't worry, we're going to come back and paint this. But you could also just leave the caulk. It's going to be a nice straight line, and if it's a nice white ceiling and white caulk, you're not going to see it. But over time, white caulk can turn yellow. Not all caulks do, but you might see the caulk over time. Just make sure you've pretty much taken all the caulk off with just a little bit filling that seam in between the ceiling and the wall. Keep that wet sponge around, that way you can go ahead and wipe your finger when you do a wipe because you don't want to spread that caulk. You want to keep it nice and clean and tight. You don't want big chunks of caulk. Then you just pull the tape off and it's going to be a nice straight line. Be careful not to hit the walls with the wet caulk that's on the tape. Okay, that looks pretty good. Like I said, you could leave that, but I recommend go ahead and put your second coat of paint right over that.
Let the caulk dry before you paint.
I like to use my Purdy 3-inch flat brush. Works out real nice, holds a lot of paint, and I can cut in really quick. So you just want to dip and then tap it on the sides and get a line you're going to make on there. Don't go all the way to the edge. You just want to feather it out once you get most of the paint up, because you're going to go on the caulk, but you don't want to go past where the caulk is. Any little variation you're not even going to see. So that's why this works out so good on a ceiling that has texture and the walls are textured, because it's really hard to get a straight cut line. Most painters do this and it's not a problem. I'm sure I'll get some comments that you can't put caulk on the ceiling like that, but it's fine. Done it many times with no issues, and it turns out nice. Customers love it. So again, I'm just painting that edge right up to the caulk line, actually just a little bit back from the caulk. Just take your time. The reason I don't recommend leaving the tape up there, one, I don't need the tape to get a nice straight line, but if you leave the tape up there, that caulk's going to dry, and then you might get a bigger line of caulk right at the wall. So as soon as you get that caulk up, you want to pull your tape.
I'm Peck, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.